So I just wanted to do a very quick run through video of what you will get if you start with Excel coaching. So this applies for both me and Liv. So obviously one of the first questions, I always get with sort of new client applications is, what do I get? What is provided with the online coaching service? So I wanted to just do a little bit of a Loom video to run you through all the documents that you will get and actually talk to you a little bit about the coaching process. So for those who have never been coached before, my sort of thought process or advice would always be just go with someone who you gel with the most, who you sort of are on the same wavelength with. Because let's be honest, like in the coaching industry, there's hundreds, thousands of online coaches, and in all honesty, everyone can get results in their own respected fashion, and that's that. It is a very competitive industry, so the big thing I would always say is, go with someone who you feel you sort of get on with, that you're the same type of person, and who you'd actually communicate well with, because I think that's always a good starting point. Because for me, coaching is all about communication. Us as coaches could have all the information in the world, but if you can't actually get that through to a client, then it's kind of pointless. So it's kind of being with someone who you feel you get on with, you can communicate well with, and all in all, it's a joint effort. It's a working process. It's a working relationship. So that would always be my advice for number one. So obviously, the online coaching process will differ from obviously coach to coach. People have different sort of ways in which they coach, different check-in processes, different information that you get when you start with them. So what I wanted to do is just run you through our coaching process, and obviously tell you what documents you'll get, about the coaching process in itself, and hopefully this will sort of alleviate any questions that people may or may not have. So to run you through it, I'm going to run you through the documents to begin with. So obviously we actually run now through a coaching app, so this is available both on the App Store and also the Android. So this isn't like a generic coaching app where everyone gets the same plans. This is just literally a database. So you've got your diet plans, your personalized diet plans, your training plans, you complete the check-in, so everything's sort of all under one umbrella. We do actually do our communication though via WhatsApp. We just generally find that's a little bit easier and a little bit more streamlined. The reason being, everyone uses WhatsApp. It's at the touch of a finger. We're always more accessible, because obviously with this, it's not just about getting a nutrition plan, getting a training plan, checking in week to week. It's about that sort of around the clock support, whether it's for motivation, whether it's for asking questions, reviewing form videos and that kind of thing. So that's where we deal with all the general day-to-day communication, which obviously follows after the initial plan setup and obviously in between each of the check-ins. So first and foremost, I'm just going to run you through the plans as to what you get when you first sign up. So obviously with this, you get an Excel coaching welcome pack. So what I say with the welcome pack is this is just an introduction to sort of our check-in process. Obviously our nutrition, sort of training, quite generic to be fair, just gives you a bit of a flavour as to what's to come. Here down here, we actually have a link that opens up to YouTube. So it's a full series of like 6-7 videos about the welcome, from both me and Liv, what our expectations as coaches to you. It talks to you about nutrition, our check-in process, training, cardio, and just general, speed. There's actually more than 6 videos. That's all I could fit on the welcome pack itself. And it also talks to you about the supplements that we recommend as essentials, which are all via our sponsor at Full Bore Sports. So just moving on to the sort of introduction. So obviously once you sign up, this is what you get prior to sign up. And if you watch through the videos, you think, this looks like something for me, then obviously these are the next documents that you'll get once you sign up and obviously once we generate your plans. So we get an introduction pack. So the introduction is, again, general talk about the process in itself. It talks to you, and these are all individual goals, sort of both daily goals you need to do on a daily basis, your overall goals as a client, and also your individual goals along with the check-in day and also the check-in process and what we expect in terms of pictures and stuff like that. So it gives you an information pack around in the introduction and also the check-in process to begin with. We then do a training plan. So this is not scrolled up to the top. So we get an individualized training plan. So this is obviously, we look at your physique to start with based on, your check-in pictures initially, which is actually carried out via the app, via a full application form. So we run through, training expenditure. Obviously, for example, for this, it's just a complete draft. It's based on a push-pull legs. It might be a body part split, obviously, depending on the days you can do a week, and also depending on, obviously, your day-to-day setup. It talks about what cardio we want you to do, sort of our ab work, our daily step counts, and then we go through about the training program, so all the terminologies that we use in the program. So obviously, you're not reading through it and thinking, what on earth are they on about? So because we do have some like made up terms that I actually use in terms of intensifiers. And then we get to rotation training program, which is laid out a little bit like this. Obviously exercises, rep ranges, intensifying techniques, and also the tempo, which we want you to be using for each of these. What I will say as well, in the actual coaching app itself, we actually do have a full exercise library. So each exercise is broken down. Both me and Liv talk through each exercise. talk you through about cues, biomechanics, and everything that you need to know to how to exercise, and execute the movements properly. Obviously, with that, when a client first sets up, I will hammer them for form videos, because at the end of the day, like, if I don't know how you're training in the gym, then it's the blind leading the blind. So I've got to understand how clients are training. So in the initial phase, the first few weeks, it's always asking for training videos. Once I'm happy, we can then start being a little bit more infrequent with that. But the initial phase is really making sure clients are familiar and comfortable with how we're training. And obviously, it's me going, push harder, slow that eccentric down, squeeze harder, all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, training is everything for us. So a massive, massive emphasis when we start with a client, and obviously run through the training aspect. So the nutrition plan, obviously, this is actually not your full nutrition plan itself. This is just a generic document talks about nutrition. So obviously the nutrition principles, answers some frequently asked questions, talks about nutrient timing, and then runs through like our different sort of protein sources, carbohydrate sources, all different things that we can use, along with our supplements for full bore sports, which we actually do recommend. And we also have a discount code. So Team XL will get you 10% off any of these products, and also a little table for each product of what we can use, and obviously the advantage to using said products. So that's the nutrition pack, which is obviously general. Then obviously we run on to the actual diet sheets themselves. So this is just for the sake of it, a generic diet plan here, obviously split out meal by meal. For me personally, I'd always advise, actually going meal by meal. Personally for me, it's much more, for my clientele certainly, I prefer it. I like to know what people are eating, so it's weights of ingredients. It doesn't mean we have to use them day in, day out. We can obviously swap them out week to week, because it does get mundane and boring. But typically I find meal plans, setting meal by meal is much more effective. For obviously lifestyle clients, we do macro plans as well. But, probably 80 to 90% of my clients will work from a meal by meal basis. Then we have the efficiency pack. So this is just a general document that helps us. So the training, the nutrition, the check-ins, like this is how we can make everything more efficient. And it also talks about sleep as well. So how can we get the most from our sort of nutrient timing? How can we get the most? This is just like a generic pack, which is quite like almost educational, quite useful for clients, just to sort of get the most out of the process in itself. So like I said, they are the series of documents that you do get. And then like I said, you actually download the app from the App Store. Unfortunately, if I showed you the browser version, it doesn't actually look like the app. So I'm not going to actually show you the app, but obviously it is all via the App Store. Very user-friendly. And obviously your training plan that you've seen there, the diet plan that you've seen there, all of that then gets translated into the app itself. And then obviously that's where we do the check-ins week to week with the communication via WhatsApp. So that as a whole is the coaching process, and that's how we approach XL Coaching. Our philosophy, to be quite honest, is to provide like a premium, professional level service, at like an affordable cost for like everyday people. That's not to say our clientele is actually everyday. We coach people right from beginners to intermediate clients to guys that want to get first times on stage, and actually some guys that I'm pushing for national level. So it's not aimed at anyone. The only thing we ever ask for is you give us 100%. You've got an absolute bulletproof work ethic, and you're here and willing to learn. So that for me is the coaching process as a whole, and how we treat XL Coaching. So if you have got any questions whatsoever, please obviously feel free to ask. Direct them in our DMs if you've not got us on like WhatsApp or anything like that, and me and Liv will be absolutely more than happy to help. Thank you very much for listening.